Sometimes the biggest mistakes in global politics are not dramatic decisions. They are the opportunities that were ignored. Recently, reports revealed what some analysts describe as a critical strategic mistake during the Trump White House. The issue involves Iran, Ukraine, Russia, and one of the most important weapons shaping modern warfare today, drones. Let's break down what happened. A few months ago, according to reporting from U.S. officials speaking privately to journalists, Ukraine approached the White House with a warning. Their message was straightforward, and they said that we have already been fighting the exact type of drones that the United States is now struggling with, and we have ideas that could help. But according to the reports, nothing meaningful happened after that meeting. Today, that missed opportunity is raising serious questions. To understand why Ukraine's warning mattered, we need to look at the war between Russia and Ukraine. When Vladimir Putin launched the invasion of Ukraine, Russian forces began using large numbers of Iranian-designed drones. These drones are relatively cheap, simple, and effective. Instead of relying only on expensive missiles or aircraft, they can be launched in large numbers to overwhelm defenses. Ukraine has been dealing with these drones for years, so while the United States has only recently faced similar threats in the Middle East, Ukraine has already been studying and fighting them on the battlefield. Think of it like this. If your car suddenly breaks down and your neighbor has fixed the same issue 10 times before, you would probably listen to their advice. That's the position Ukraine was in. They had first-hand experience, not theories, not predictions, real battlefield knowledge. According to the reports, President Volodymyr Zelensky's team brought a presentation to the White House. They explained that Ukraine had developed low-cost methods to intercept drones. They discussed sensor systems, air defense tactics, and interceptor drones designed specifically to stop cheap aerial threats. The idea behind these solutions was simple. Instead of using extremely expensive weapons to destroy cheap drones, you build affordable defensive tools designed specifically for those targets. Because the current problem the United States faces is something military planners call asymmetric warfare. That means one side is fighting with much cheaper tools than the other. Imagine someone throwing $10 rocks and you respond by firing million-dollar missiles to stop them. Technically it works, but economically it makes very little sense. And that's exactly the challenge modern drone warfare creates. Many of the drones used in conflicts today cost tens of thousands of dollars, but the interceptor missiles used to shoot them down can cost hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars. That imbalance adds up quickly. According to reporting, Donald Trump showed some interest in the Ukrainian proposal. He reportedly told his team to work on it. But after that initial instruction, there was no major follow-through, no large collaboration effort, no rapid defense program built around the Ukrainian ideas, and the proposal was essentially left unfinished. Months later, the United States now finds itself dealing with the same drone threat Ukraine warned about. These drones are difficult to counter for several reasons. They often fly very low, which makes them harder to detect. They move slowly, which can confuse systems designed to track faster aircraft. And because they are relatively small, they can be difficult for traditional radar systems to detect consistently. This creates a new kind of battlefield challenge. Instead of defending against large aircraft or ballistic missiles, military forces must deal with small, inexpensive flying machines launched in large numbers. It's important to clarify something here. This discussion is not about whether the United States should or should not confront Iran. It's also not about broader political debates regarding military decisions or foreign policy authority. Those are separate issues. The point here is much simpler. If a country is preparing for a new threat, it makes sense to listen to the partners who have already faced that threat directly. And in this case, Ukraine had years of experience fighting Iranian-style drone warfare. Their battlefield experience could have helped the United States prepare earlier and potentially reduce costs. There's also a financial dimension to this issue. When extremely expensive weapons are used to destroy cheap drones, the costs rise quickly, and ultimately that money comes from taxpayers. Every interceptor missile launched against a low-cost drone represents a massive cost difference. Multiply that across dozens or hundreds of engagements and the financial impact becomes enormous. So this is not just a military strategy question. It is also a question of economic efficiency. But there is one final irony in this situation. For years, parts of the American political conversation have sometimes treated Ukraine as a smaller or less influential partner. Yet, in this particular case, Ukraine may have had more practical experience with one of the most important emerging threats in modern warfare. They had already fought against these drones. They had already tested ways to defend against them. And they were willing to share that knowledge. But according to the reporting, that opportunity was not fully used. So the takeaway from this story is fairly simple. A potential strategic advantage was offered. It came from a country that had already faced the threat directly. And for a variety of possible reasons, whether bureaucracy, politics, or simple inaction, the opportunity was not pursued. In modern warfare, technology evolves quickly. And sometimes the most valuable knowledge comes from those already fighting on the front lines. In this case, Ukraine believed it had important lessons to share. The question many analysts are now asking is simple. What might have been different if those lessons had been taken seriously earlier? Thanks for watching. This is Global Decode 13, where we break down global power, strategy, and geopolitics in simple terms. No noise, no hype, just clear understanding. If you want to see what's really happening beneath the headlines, make sure you're here for the next Decode. I'll see you in the next one.